The game starts with d4, knight f6, bishop g5, the Trumpowski attack. d5 in reply, and I was expecting something like this, where we will play a game like this, and I had actually some preparation in this. But our opponent played e3, and I wasn't in theory anymore. I decided to play knight bd7, stable play as I only needed a draw to become the champion of my club for this period. And after knight f3, e6, knight bd2, c5, I felt pretty okay about my chances or positions to make a draw. c3 in order to make this Caro-Kann structure. He was also playing very stable, as you can see. I play queen b6 in order to attack the pawn, and he plays rook b1 to defend that pawn. Bishop d6 in order to afflict some square control over these diagonals. And bishop d3, much like the same idea. h6 in order to shoo away the bishop. Bishop goes back, and here I go for a4. A5, excuse me. The thing was that I wanted to play stable at one side where I just would just castle and not make any risk, and at the other side, like I'm a young guy, I want to make risks. I want to play g5, so I went for the middle road. I went for a5, feeling ambitious but also kind of stable at the same time. Our opponent castles, and now want to go for g5 again, but again, it's too risky. I need a draw. I cannot go crazy, so I go castles, and our opponent plays c4. Which, to this point, I felt already very uncomfortable because I didn't see this move coming. He's actually like, if I take here, knight takes, this is already unpleasant as he would take my bishop, which is actually my best piece. And so I went for the other pawn instead. But now I realize that he was threatening this, so I have to go back, and I have to go back again, and the position feels uncomfortable. These pawns are kind of overextended, which I was playing on, but I realized that I could never really play for something like b6 because he has c6. So I was kind of in trouble. So we are in this position. He plays the rook out an open foul. I play rook out to no foul. He plays rook out to potentially open fouls, semi-open foul. I play not that move. I play knight h5 because I needed something in this position, and I calculated that if takes knight e5, going for this, I have knight takes, and after something like queen takes, I would have knight takes d3. So I kind of had some tricks up my sleeve. Instead, after bishop takes queen takes, he went for g3, just stopping my plan, just being the positional player that he is. And I have to go back with the knight, because my knight is essentially misplaced on h5. b3 in order to prepare these moves. And here, again, I have to solve issues in my position, which is essentially this bishop causing my rooks to be unconnected. So I went back with my knight in order to play the bishop here and the knight here. a3, knight there, queen c2, bishop d7, bishop, queen d2 in order to play b4, and I play b6. He plays b4 still as planned, and I take. He takes, and I play my rook to b8, knowing that I want to connect the rooks, and I know after b4 I have to move it away. And if I move it away here, and my rook would still be like on that place, then my rooks are again unconnected, and I have still the same problems in my position. On top of that, c6 is also like very annoying. So that's why I played rook b8. And after b4, I had to immediately go for a5. One, because I have no time. Two, because this is the only square I can go to. If I go back to here, he has this. I move away, and then he has this, forking my rook and my knight. So I immediately went for knight a5, knowing that, okay, my chances are low. I'm just still holding on. And I'm trying. c6 was played. Bishop c8 in order to stop any ideas of going for c7 and going for a promotion square, because there's no way you can go in at this point. He goes for rook a1. I thought he would double up, so I would double up proactively. He indeed does that. And here I decide to go for knight e8, as my knight, again, has no squares to go to, and maybe it's better stationed on d6. Here, our opponent kind of goes wrong, but because I'm low on time, I have a few minutes on the clock, I just decided to stop his plan and go to c7. Instead, I could have, oops, not that move, I could have traded off and go for knight takes on c6. But because I was in such a negative mood, it was lousy, I was nervous, and I was low on time, I decided to blitz out queen c7, and after he blitzed out queen b4, I blitzed out knight e6, and here I was not breathing good. I was not doing anything good, so I decided to take a breath. And all of a sudden, I see this tactic with knight c6. And I was thinking, wow, like, I'm threatening the queen. You cannot take here. This I take here and here and here, and I'm up what material. So yeah, I was like astonished, and I offered a draw here because that's what I needed. He declined, obviously. He took there, and I was like, oh, maybe I take here, but he can just take back as this rook was defended. So luckily, I saw that on time, and I took back with the knight. The pressure still was on the position. He attacked my queen, I moved my queen back. The knight comes in, I move my queen back. But because he fell for the trick before, I thought maybe he would fall for the trick again, and he indeed does. I wanted to go for knight takes here, and the point is like, you cannot take here, as I would take here, take, and then like this. Problem here was if I do this, there's this. And after I have to move here as this, and I lose my queen. So luckily I also saw that, and I went for bishop b7 instead. Now everything is protected. If, this check comes, I can just move away and this queen is protected and everything's fine. He moves back and he falls for the trick, which is knight takes on b5. Point is that you cannot take again, because I would take the queen on b4, and I would essentially win the game on the spot. So he instead takes my queen. I take back with the rook. Point is that if I take with the king, I would lose the pawn for nothing, and he would have control over the squares. So I take with the rook and decide to make a trade attack. He takes, I take, and essentially in this pawn endgame, I was already up a pawn, and I was feeling pretty confident, so I just made moves. We slowly played this out, and slowly but surely, I actually even got winning chances. Now I am even up 2 pawns, and in this position, my opponent resigns. So, and this is how I became the champion for this period in my club.